great crowd here today. Ole Anderson is with me, and we've got a lot of exciting things going on. First of all, 2 more heavyweight championship tournament matches upcoming later on in the program, plus the fact that some very serious things about Bob Armstrong, and of course there's been a lot of people have been asking about Atlanta's promoter Paul Jones.
Well, they sure have. We've been getting a lot of cards and letters, and we want everybody to know that Paul Jones is doing real well. He's still all around the place. He's promoting wrestling, and we want to say hello to Paul and also let all the fans know that in the very near future, in the upcoming shows, that we're going to be having some interviews with Paul and probably have Paul right here live on TV.
Looking forward to that, and of course something that now is well, it's going to have to go before the board of directors. There's no question about it. Bob Armstrong is indicating that, of course, he wants to come back into wrestling just as quickly as he can, and there's a real a problem there.
Well, there sure is, because as everybody knows, Bob received some injuries at the hands of DiBiase and possibly some other people. He wants to come back to wrestling. It's a problem because there's some concern as to whether or not he's physically able, and I think right now we do have some film clip, and we just kind of like to refresh people's memory and take a look at Bob Armstrong as he was prior to his injury, see how he wrestled, and see how he looked at that time.
Precisely. He was obviously in just fantastic, just a great competitor, no question about it. He and his son, Brad, and of course his other 2 sons now, all very interested in the professional aspect of this sport. But Bob Armstrong has been such a great champion, the only native Georgian ever to hold the North American Heavyweight Championship. There you see his son, Brad, and you can see the tremendous condition that Bob is in. Now, of course, our next picture is certainly worth 1,000 words. What we're going to go to now is to the hospital where Bob was, well, he was almost fatally injured. There's no question about that. And there you see him. They had to perform a tracheotomy. He couldn't breathe. His head, his face, his mouth was all wired shut.
Well, we all know that in wrestling we can expect to receive some kind of injury. It's just part of our job. But to see a man so devastated as Bob Armstrong was, and to think that he probably would never even be able to do much of anything again, let alone consider wrestling. Here we want to just show the improvement that he's made, because recently he was here on television. But even so, as you look at this film when they put it up, you'll see that there are a lot of scars. Bob is certainly not the same man.
No question about that.
He did it on his own. He had no help, and I feel like now that Brad's come into his own, and I think the name of Armstrong...
Well, there you have it, and of course you could hear Bob, and he was having to speak with that tracheotomy still in effect. He is showing even more improvement. All I can say there, Ole, is I think, once again, it's a credit to this man, his spirit, his will, but also to his tremendous physical conditioning.
Well, no question about that. If he hadn't been a wrestler and that type of an injury had occurred anywhere, I'm sure that he wouldn't even probably be around. He's a tough man, and of course his whole family has a tradition that they're trying to uphold, that they have done very well. We're going to see Brad today in that all-important elimination match, the one that they're going to be trying for the world's heavyweight champion with Ric Flair. And well, I think the rest of the show will speak for itself. We'll just have to see what happens and look forward. I hope to seeing Bob, but right now, of course, as you said, there's some question.
There is indeed, and I just put it up to you folks. I'm sure that all of you would like to see him back in action. Let us know your response to this situation. We've got a matchup coming right now, so let's go to the ring. And by the way, a little later on, we will be seeing the World Heavyweight Champion, Ric Flair. So let's go to the ring now. Certainly a pleasure and an honor to have with us once again the 2 times World Heavyweight Wrestling Champion, Ric Flair. And may I just point out that since he won the title, this man is beginning to eclipse all records for title defenses and capacity crowds everywhere. Congratulations.
Well, thank you very much, Gordon. Always a pleasure to be here. Worldwide Championship Wrestling, the biggest wrestling production anywhere in the world. Anytime I can be here and be a part of it, I'm proud to be here. I'm the World Heavyweight Champion. That makes me #1. And this area right here has put together probably the greatest and biggest wrestling tournament of all time to see just who the #1 challenger for the World Heavyweight Champion is. Now, whether I defend the title, as you said, in Baltimore, in Cleveland, in New York, Atlanta, Georgia, wherever I defend the title, I'm sure it's going to be a tremendous match, and it's going to be a tremendous opportunity for the man that walks away, the winner of this tournament, to find out just where he ranks in the World Heavyweight Championship scene. I'm the greatest wrestler alive, Gordon Solie. You know that. The whole wrestling world knows that. If you want to find out where you are, if you want to find out where you rank, let Ric Flair take your measure, and we'll find out. I want to step in the ring right here and give both these men a handshake. It's going to be a tremendous match, and I expect to see one of these men come out in the top challenging state.
Okay, there we have it. Ric Flair going to the ring. Let's follow him there to the ring introductions, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, World Championship Wrestling presents the second round tournament elimination matches. Tournament winner to meet Ric Flair for the World Heavyweight Championship. Introducing first, ladies and gentlemen, to my left, the World TV Champion at 242 pounds from Freeport, Louisiana, managed by Precious Paul Ellering, Jake the Snake Roberts. His opponent, ladies and gentlemen, the National Heavyweight Champion, 236 pounds from Marietta, Georgia, Brad Armstrong.
There you have it. Going up against the world television champion. And as I've said before, this would be a main event anywhere in the country.
Anywhere in the world, Gordon. Let's face it, anytime you've got the national TV champion and the nationally recognized heavyweight champion, you have to know that you're going to see one of the greatest contests in professional wrestling. And to think that these two guys are in the ring battling out their hearts, 100% mentally prepared, physically and mentally, for a chance to wrestle Ric Flair for the World Heavyweight Championship.
That, of course, is the ultimate goal. We had a good takedown there by Brad Armstrong. Jake the Snake Roberts still wearing some protective covering around his ribs, the lower end of the rib cage, and of course that's where he took a pretty severe pounding from the man with the hands of stone, I meant to say, Ron Garvin. Brad Armstrong looking extremely good out there right now.
You know, Gordon, as I said earlier, there's a lot of men in the wrestling world that think they belong in the heavyweight championship scene. There's only a few, as you know, that actually do. And today, and in the weeks to follow, we're going to find out just who the man is. This area right here goes everywhere. This program goes everywhere. From the East Coast to the West Coast, you see some of the greatest wrestlers alive today. It's a tremendous opportunity for these fans out here to see competition like this at such a keen level. All of them trying to get the World Heavyweight Championship.
The 10 pounds of gold that surrounds the waist of one Ric Flair right now. Brad Armstrong with a good drop kick a moment ago. Jake the Snake Roberts looking a bit troubled. Getting some additional advice now from Precious Paul Ellering. But Jake the Snake is exactly that. He is as cunning and as tricky as a snake, as we just saw there. Good single leg pickup has Brad Armstrong back to the canvas once again.
You know, not too many weeks ago, I had the opportunity to wrestle Brad Armstrong shortly after he won the National Heavyweight Championship, and he came into that ring fired up. He gave me a tremendous match, and I'd be a liar if I stood here and tried to tell the people that I wasn't lucky to walk out with the World Heavyweight Championship. Armstrong is a tremendous competitor in tremendous physical condition, and as you said, Jake Roberts might be a little sneaky and a little devious at times, but he's prepared. And you know that in this match right now, Roberts' mind is going 100 miles an hour because he knows the advantages that he'll have in the future if he has the championship match.
No question about that, and we just saw Precious Paul Ellering hurling a bunch of instructions to Jake the Snake Roberts.
Gordon, I just want to add one thing. I've been down in Texas all week long, and I can vouch and tell you this right now from the bottom of my heart. I've never worn a pair of cowboy boots, never worn a pair of jeans in my life, never wore a cowboy hat, but every girl in the state of Texas, as Ric Flair left, had to know that they were dealing with the all-around cowboy.
Fair enough. Well, you Georgia peaches might take note of that. And, all right. And all of those lovely Maryland misses, too, when Ric Flair comes your way. He's quite an individual. A beautiful shot into the ribs by Brad Armstrong, and it is Jake the Snake. He could be in more trouble than he'd like to admit at this point, although he's trying to press the advantage on Brad Armstrong.
I'd like just to ask Ric Flair, since he's standing here, what would you look at, Rick, if you had your choice right now? Let's say one of these men should make it all the way through the eliminations and then wrestle you. What are you looking at? Which one would you say rather wrestle?
Well, to be very honest with you, Ole, I'd rather There's a lot of guys in the world I'd rather wrestle than either one of them. I'm here today because of the competition in this tournament, as I said, is as keen as anywhere in the world. Jake Roberts, I've wrestled on several occasions. Brad Armstrong on one occasion. Both of them gave Ric Flair all they wanted. I was lucky to walk out of the title in both matches. But to say which one I'd rather wrestle, I really don't have a preference. As you know, Gordon, I'd wrestle anybody, anytime, anywhere. I wouldn't be the world champion if I wasn't ready to go against any style that's brought in the ring against me.
Well, a straightforward answer there, that he'll take either one. And it is Brad Armstrong in trouble at the moment.
Well, a little bit later, we're going to be seeing two other people in competition, Tim Horner and the Road Warrior. Take a look at the Road Warrior, 290 pounds. How would you wrestle a guy like that?
I'd get in the ring like I do night in and night out, and I'd look towards his strengths, I'd look towards his weaknesses. Obviously, the Road Warrior is one of the most powerful men in wrestling today. I'm not a big man by wrestling standards. We talked about that before. I'm 240 pounds, but I pride myself on my conditioning. If I were wrestling the Road Warrior, I'd have to go in that ring and try and wear him down.
Good observation. And it continues to be Jake the Snake Roberts and Brad Armstrong battling it out for supremacy in this one-fall elimination match. The winner of this match goes on in the tournament. The loser is eliminated. And I might just say, too, that, of course, should the match go to a draw, they're both eliminated.
Well, that's right. But, you know, I'm talking to Rick. I look at Jake, very methodical, but I look at Brad Armstrong, and I see a guy who's just bursting with energy.
I mentioned that earlier. Brad Armstrong comes in that ring. He's 23 years old. He's already, let's face it, at the top of our profession. To be the national champion ranks him right there with the top 5 or 6 wrestlers in the world today. Brad Armstrong is a tremendously conditioned athlete. When he's in that ring, I don't care who it is, he's determined. Doesn't give a darn what he has to do to win that match.
You look at Brad and you see that he's always thinking, and right now you've got two people against Brad. You've got Jake the Snake and Precious Paul Ellering, and still Brad is looking doggone good. In fact, may even come out with this thing.
Could be, I'll tell you what. He catches him, Brad caught him right alongside the chin. I'm amazed that, and he reverberates against his jaw once again. Brad Armstrong, full arm whip, high back drop by Brad Armstrong. He is perpetual motion, I'll tell you.
Well, I'll tell you something. When you're in a position that Brad Armstrong is now, you grow up real quick because you're wrestling men that'll stop at nothing. Well, you saw a move right there. Tremendous counter by Jake Roberts. Tell me Jake Roberts isn't ready. Boy, he came in there. He was at a disadvantage. Armstrong had him going. And Roberts came off with a real slick move right there and hit him with that knee.
And now some stinging lefts and rights. Drives Brad Armstrong back. Armstrong caught again and again in the abdominal wall.
You know, Gordon, you see this match, it started out on a real scientific level, but boy, when it gets down to the cutting time, you know what I'm talking about. These guys are going at each other wide open, no holds barred. That's what kind of tournament this is going to be. They all know the prestige and the importance of the World Heavyweight Championship, and these guys will stop at nothing short to get in that position.
Russian leg sweep. A hook on that leg. Brad Armstrong after Jake the Snake. Re-injured those ribs going into that ring post, but Brad Armstrong did it. Brad Armstrong moves on in the tournament. There's no question about it. And we may see, here we see it again. Here's where Jake the Snake caught those ribs. You can see him there grasping at those ribs. A Russian leg sweep by Brad Armstrong. Grapevines the leg, vertical body press. Has him down for the 3 count. It is all over, and the victor, and he moves on in the tournament, is the national heavyweight champion, Brad Armstrong. You're wrestling, of course, tonight in Columbus, Georgia, tomorrow in Cincinnati, the Riverfront Coliseum.
That's right, Gordon Sully. We're in Cincinnati, Ohio, tomorrow night. Then we're in Cleveland, Ohio. Then we're in Grand Rapids and Saginaw, Michigan. Then Huntington, West Virginia. You people be ready. The Warriors are coming right up.
King Kong Bundy and Youngblood. You're going to feel some pain Chicago style. We're going to be the ones inflicting the pain upon your rotten bodies. I'm going to tell you something else. We're going to be in the Omni the first, wreaking havoc destroying people, doing what we're best at, and that's making people hurt. So think about that. Yeah, think about that. Warriors!
March 25th, and in Thursday, March 29th in Lawrenceville, Georgia, and of course the big tour begins.
You know what I had on my mind before I went in that match was Ronnie Garvin. It's over with now, Brad. What I've still got on my mind is Ronnie Garvin. He is the reason I lost that. Listen to these people. Can't you quiet them down a little bit so I can say this?
Maybe they'll be
It's
quiet.
going to be a little bit different, Ronnie Garvin, when you and I step into that ring. 'Cause I'll tell you something, man. I want you almost as bad as you want me. And if you don't think I'm big enough for the job, then you go ahead, grab a hold of a snake, and just see how much he can grow and see if you like that.
And right now, Paul Ellering, I'd like to invite you out here because I'm going to show everybody something. Last week you had your time on TV. This week we've got our time. Let's take a look right now because we're going to see the Road Warriors against two men. We're going to see
Jerry Lawler and Austin Idol.
Thank you. Take the words out of my mouth. Somebody beating the Road Warriors is such an unusual feat, I get tongue-tied. But they're the only team that have had a chance to beat the Road Warriors in well over, 3 or 4 months. And that's the team of Jerry Lawler and Austin Idol, and they managed to do something nobody else has been able to do.
Conversation as I walk into the room. I'm a free line whip, I'm a solar fairy fan. I'm a walking disaster boy. I do a chair and the bomb is ticking. This situation is not of your picking.
Well, there you saw it, of course, those two.
Ellering, no, wait a second. We've already seen what happened out here. We see Mr. Idol and we see Jerry Lawler and we see him defeat your Road Warriors for the first time. And I just happen to have in my possession a contract all signed and now ready to be delivered. It happens to be a title match against those two men.
No way!
All we need is your signature on it, Mr. Ellering. Let me have a pencil, Gordon.
No way, Ole Anderson! I'm not signing nothing, not for you or not for anybody!
Must be a bad day for Mr. Ellering.
It hasn't started off too well for him, having Jake the Snake Roberts eliminated from the tournament right now, though. Let's heavyweights. Here's another one, Crusher Blackwell, going up against Dale Veasey. Blackwell with immense strength and immense size, and Veasey very cleverly ducked to one side. Went at him hammer and tong that time, though, head up, and all right, he tried him out for strength, and he found out. And Veasey is an extremely powerful man. Veasey with a side headlock. Blackwell fires him off, and Blackwell stood there like an oak tree. Veasey again with a side headlock. All right, Blackwell. Good blocks by Veasey, but he couldn't do it. Blackwell again with that tremendous strength. Hey, arm drag takedown by Blackwell as Veasey to the canvas. So it's not just size and strength alone with Crusher Blackwell. Nice to have Christy Carr here today from Dallas, Texas. Marie Whited from New York City. Peggy Lathan from Liberty, South Carolina. I want to say a special get well wish to Nat Apter. He is the father of senior editor of Pro Wrestling Illustrated, Bill Apter. Nat had some recent surgery and is recuperating. Veasey, 2 forearms into the side of the jaw, third one. And, well, Blackwell was not phased from that one.
Just pointing out that the man we're looking at here, Crusher Blackwell, has recently been up in the AWA area all around Minneapolis. Great wrestling up there, some great wrestlers, and of course, he's one half of the AWA Tag Team Champions along with Ken Patera.
That's the home, of course, of Vern Gagne, and of course, his son, now a great second-generation wrestler, Greg Gagne.
Yeah, look at this guy. Amazing.
Yeah.
As big as he is, he can arm drag, he can drop kick, he can do everything that the lighter guys do, but he's about 4 times as big.
He is indeed.
Ooh.
Well, that won't cave in your rib cage. Nothing will. Brother. Veasey down. I'm amazed. Blackwell has got to go in the neighborhood of 400 pounds, getting up in the air for a drop kick. That's, well, absolutely stupefying.
I can't even imagine anybody that kind of size being able to do the things that he does. Extremely agile, extremely big, and terribly devastating.
Pulled him up apparently before the count of 3, and I don't know what Veasey given a reprieve, but I'm not so sure it's a reprieve.
Blackwell wants to punish him. Boy, and he does.
All right, the referee, Nick Patrick, warning Blackwell that that's twice. Blackwell, with a look of almost simple innocence on his face. And I'll tell you something, Ole. The crowd here at the TBS Sports Arena is already...
Watch this move this man makes. I've seen it before. You take a look. All his weight right back.
It's all over. It is all. He wanted a 5 count, and the people want him with Bundy. The people would like to mix him up with Bundy. You could hear them chanting it earlier. And what a match that would make. Right now, let me take a few moments to talk to the spoiler. He's requested time today for a specific reason.
That's right, Gordon. I want to show a little piece of tape that why I should be the national heavyweight champion. If you roll that tape, I'll tell you why, and you people will see why I should be the national heavyweight champion. Here I am with Brad Armstrong. I've got him in my bionic claw. Now, as you can see, he's already out. It's a punishing factor. I mean, his face looks like his old man. That's what I'm into. I'm into punishment and agony. And Mr. Brad Armstrong, anytime you want to put up that belt, put it up, because I rightfully should be the national heavyweight champion, because I put him out with a bionic claw.
Well, the point is, obviously, something did occur, and you didn't gain that title. And Mr. Ellering, of course, has oftentimes been an interference factor in a match.
Listen, Gordon Soley, sometimes you remind me of a wet holiday. Till the victor goes the spoils, and the spoiler will become the champion. You people saw it right in front of your very own eyes. All you cock-punching idiots out there. All you have to do is open up your eyes and see that the Legion of Doom is the greatest wrestling organization to ever step into the squared circle. The spoiler will be the next champion. Brad Armstrong, it's only a matter of time.
Here now, here's a very special word.
The Omni, Sunday, April 1st at 8:30. A Canadian strap match. Jake the Snake Roberts, World TV Champion, takes on Ronnie Garvin. The Battle of the Giants. Big Joe LeDuc takes on 450-pound King Kong Bundy. It's the Road Warriors, the National Tag Team Champions, against Austin Idol and Jerry Lawler, the King of Wrestling. The National Heavyweight Championship on the line. Brad Armstrong defends against the Spoiler, plus Tim Horner, Les Thornton, Sweet Brown Sugar, and more, April 1st.
For the semifinals in the tournament to meet this gentleman, twice World Heavyweight Wrestling Champion Ric Flair. And this should prove to be an extremely interesting match.
Well, you've got a tremendous matchup here. You've got the Beauty against the Beast. I'm talking about Tim Horner, who's a tremendously well-conditioned, scientific-type wrestler, against the Hawk. And his record speaks for itself. One of the most powerful, brutal men in wrestling today. I'm going to go up and shake their hands right now. May the best man win.
Fair enough. Ric Flair, NWA World Heavyweight Champion. Crossing over to go up there and shake hands. Let's turn it over to our ring announcer, Ron Allen.
Ladies and gentlemen, World Championship Wrestling presents a second-round tournament elimination match. Tournament winner to meet Ric Flair for the World Heavyweight Championship. Introducing first, ladies and gentlemen, one half of the National Tag Team Champions, 267 pounds, managed by Precious Paul Ellering, the Road Warrior, Hawk. Hawk, ladies and gentlemen. His opponent, ladies and gentlemen, at 235 pounds, from Knoxville, Tennessee, Tim Horner. Tim Horner. One fall with a 10-minute time limit. Excuse me.
All right, Tim Horner moving out against the Hawk. Horner, the classic scientific competitor. And the Hawk, big, rough, abrasive, and more like a bull in a china shop. And that's where Horner's going to have to rely on, is his speed and agility and mobility.
Well, you've got a tremendous matchup here. Very rarely do you see a truly, purely scientific wrestler, and that's what Tim Horner is. He moves around that ring as good as anybody in wrestling today. Like I said earlier, the Hawk's record speaks for itself. The National Tag Team Championship, one of the most brutal wrestlers that come along in a long, long time.
And the Hawk doing his thing best right now. A moment ago, Horner had a beautiful duck under go behind the lateral drop and takedown. And the Hawk got right up, started to fight. Look at this man move. Beautiful chain wrestling.
Classic scientific wrestling right there. You have to know that Horner's going to have to go up for a body part and work at it real hard to wear down this big guy.
Excuse me, Rick and Gordon, but I just wanted to see if I can't get a hold of Mr. Ellering again, because I think right now is a good time to present him with this contract. Two names in the contract, the Road Warriors against two other names. Title and the whole works is all signed up. All we need to do is get Ellering over here to sign his name to it. And we'll be seeing the Road Warriors against Idol and Lawler.
Well, I don't know if Mr. Ellering is going to be willing to come over here or not. He obviously is, whoops. Here's where the strength of the Hawk takes over. And the Hawk caught with a beautiful drop toe hold by Horner. Horner floats up on the body, gets back into the arm bar once again.
You take a look at the Hawk right now, the animal outside there watching. Ellering is really disturbed. Jake Roberts, having lost that match, showing that thing where the Jerry Lawler and Austin Idol beat the Road Warriors. Right now, all the marbles are riding right here on the Hawk.
Well, that was like hitting a brick wall right there, Gordon.
It was indeed, and now the Hawk beginning to dominate the situation. And so Horner...
Exactly the situation Horner has to watch out for. It's no match for the Hawk strength-wise. He's got to get back in this match right away or he's going to be in real problems.
You know, one thing that's really interesting to me is this is the first time that the Road Warriors have ever been separated, never been in a single match.
It is indeed, and we're seeing it first here on World Championship Wrestling. Yeah, the Hawk beginning to really take control of the situation now. Horner, and this may be the classic example, comparatively speaking, of the good little man going up against the good big man, and the big man finally taking over. And I'm talking about in relative respects, because Horner is a big man by normal standards, but in wrestling, he's about 240.
Well, I got a lot of faith in Horner. He's a kid that we've been talking about. He's a guy that I mentioned last week that would be coming down here, and I figure because of the ability that he's got, and of course Flair knows that as well as anybody. Flair has seen him off and on in his travels around the world. I would hope, and I would certainly say at this point, that Mr. Horner has got tremendous potential in wrestling.
Oh, no question about that. None whatsoever. It's just a question. This Hawk is beginning to overpower Mr. Ellering.
There is no question. Look what the Legion of Doom is doing now. Things are not looking too good for this young upstart. This Tim Horner, a name at the expense of the Legion of Doom, he will not make.
Well, while you're so confident, I still have this contract. Would you like to sign it now, Mr. Ellering?
Listen, Ole Anderson, you can take that contract, and you... that's all that I can do, Ole Anderson. You're out here burning up all the oxygen. There's nothing left for your brain to think on. If you'd only listen to me, you'd learn something. The Legion of Doom. Where is everybody, Ole Anderson? Where's the beef? Where's Buzz Sawyer? Where's Brett Sawyer? Where's everybody? Where's Tommy RIch, huh?
Are you done?
Yes, I'm...
Where were your Road Warriors? Where was Jake the Snake just a few minutes ago?
High body slam on Horner, and Horner in trouble now. And here it is on a St. Patrick's Day. Horner in the green, but he's not having much of the luck of the Irish. Brother.
Look at the power.
The hawk.
The strength.
Horner in behind his man, rolling reverse. He's got the saddle. He's got the count. The luck of the Irish was running there. Right there.
Can you believe it? First it's the Road Warriors, then it's Jake the Snake, and now we got the Hawk. Come on over here, Ellering, and sign your name.
Well, I'll tell you what. Pandemonium is absolutely broken loose here today. And I'll tell you what. Mr. Horner is no little green leprechaun. He gave a lucky Irish roll to him. And I'll tell you what a tremendous victory for Tim Horner. So he goes on in the tournament to meet the world champion. The story is.
Well, next week it's Horner versus Armstrong. The winner to wrestle the legendary Jack Briscoe, who, as I understand it, received a bye. One of those three men in the very near future is going to have an opportunity to wrestle Ric Flair in a city to be named for the World Heavyweight Championship. None of them are strangers to me. I respect them all. Jack Briscoe, as you know, no stranger to you, certainly, Gordon. One of the greatest world champions of all time. I believe he held the title for 3 years. Whoever the man is, remember, and let's get it out front right now. There's only one Ric Flair. Woo! There's only one world champion. There's only one man they call the franchise, and that's me, Daddy. So whichever one of you three it is, take a look at what you got to walk in the ring against. Thank you very much, Gordon.
Thank you, Rick. Let's go to the ring. Brad Armstrong and Ole, what a match that's got to be.
Well, it sure will be. If ever you're looking for a scientific match, you're going to find one there, because Brad Armstrong, heavyweight champion, and Tim Horner, the two of them are very well matched, 240 pounds apiece, I'd guess. Very scientific, very clean wrestlers. Should be a great match.
Yeah, as a 4-pound differential. The Armstrong's 236. I'll tell you what, there's one that I'd like to see, a 60-minute match, and I really would. Boy, what a pair of competitors.
Well, I'll tell you, when you talk about wrestling and you want to look at the best in wrestling, you're certainly going to be able to see it right there, because both of those men have had the high school career and the college background that's necessary to be a great amateur wrestler, and they've carried that right straight through into professional wrestling. And now we're looking at two men who are going to meet each other. And remember this, whoever wins in that match is going to be going against another man who certainly epitomizes professional wrestling and scientific professional wrestling at its best. We're talking about former world heavyweight champion Jack Briscoe.
Right. And, you know, I can only stop and think in retrospect, too, and we're talking about this over the years of 40 years now that Paul Jones has brought such outstanding wrestling to the state of Georgia.
Well, I want to say right now, once again, to a man that we think an awful lot of and an awful lot about, the Dean of Professional Wrestling Promoters, Paul Jones. And Paul, I want to say hello to you again, and I also want to make certain that I mention Mrs. Paul Jones, who's been such a help to us all through the years. Our best to you, Mrs. Jones, and to you, Paul, Dean of Wrestling Promoters. We'll be seeing you soon.
Mr. Ellering has joined us here at the desk.
You know something, Ole Anderson? No, I don't think you do know something, but this has been the worst day for the Legion of Doom since October 24th, 1929. Since the crash of Wall Street, Ole Anderson, never have we suffered so much, and it's all because of the likes of you, and I've had it.
I'll tell you what you do. You're 0 for 2 today. Have a seat and watch a real man at work.
Yeah, we'll watch you be 0 for 1, won't we? I've had it with this.
Huh. You know, I'd just like to be able to get Mr. Paul Ellering's name on this deal. Things haven't been going too well for him. Right now, let's see if we take a look at the world champion in action.
Absolutely. 2 times world heavyweight champion Ric Flair is in the ring, so let's go there now, please. And there you see him, the nature boy, Ric Flair, 240 pounds, calls himself the franchise, and indeed he is.
Boy, it's hard to be humble, Gordon, when you look like this, brother.
You just heard the statement, it's hard to be humble when you look like this.
Let's take one more quick look at
Ric Flair, and as I've said so many times before, here's a man who had it all from birth. He was literally born with a silver spoon in his mouth. His father, an extremely successful physician. Rick could have chosen just about any career he wanted. He has always been a great athlete in football, in wrestling, went on from private schools to attend the University of Minnesota, where he became all-state in collegiate wrestling. Was also a member of the Golden Gophers football team. He lived in Minneapolis for a number of years. Now officially makes his home in Charlotte, North Carolina. And to all of you Minneapolitans who may be watching right now, a special hi. My hometown. All right. Flair keeping the pressure. I'll tell you something. If there's anyone that I know of that is capable of an upset.
How's that for scientific wrestling, Gordon, huh?
He has all those capabilities, and Rose could be an upsetter, though. Flair keeping that arm trapped. Look at Rose turn into his man and Flair countering him. Flair, beautiful float over, keeping a loose ride, posting that arm. Brother, don't ever think for a minute this man doesn't keep himself completely polished at all times. Post that far arm. A little too close to the ropes. Almost had him in a pinning combination. Flair is the world's best. Flair is also one of the first to let you know about it. But, like I've heard him say before, Gordon, people who are conceited think they're good. He said, I know I'm good. Wow. Rose hurtled through those ropes. And he's got some problems coming up. Referee Nick Patrick tolling the count.
Carolina blue today, Daddy. Carolina blue.
Carolina blue is what he's wearing. By the way, we certainly want to wish and welcome Pembroke, Georgia, to the Turner Cable family. Pembroke, Georgia, now an official member of the Turner broadcast family. Say a special hi to all the good folks in Pembroke. Hope you're enjoying the program. Rose back on his feet once again. Ric Flair, the world champion. Caught in the midsection, caught on the side of the jaw by Rose. Rose beginning to really move on Flair now. And Rose, who feels he's taken a lot, suddenly coming back and beginning to dish it out. Flair, all of a sudden says, okay, 2-minute warning. And brother, I'll tell you, nobody does it better when he gets on. There's that characteristic phrase of Flair. Deep, deep, double underhook. Into a suplex.
Now we go to school.
Now we go to school as that catchphrase of the world champion as he goes to the figure 4. Beautiful application. The only man I've ever seen apply the figure 4 any more or any better than that or as good as that or what have you is former world heavyweight champion Jack Briscoe. He won the World Heavyweight Championship using the figure 4. And we may be seeing that again in slow motion. Watch this, a deep double underhook. Beautifully executed suplex. Now, comes down on the body. Watch the machine-like precision that he moves into the figure 4. That puts pressure on 4 points of the leg and the ankle and the knees. And believe you me, you just don't escape from it. Times World Junior Heavyweight Champion Les Thornton removing his belt now. going up against Roger Bond, one fall with a 10-minute time limit. Thornton down to 224 pounds. 6 pounds under the legal limit for the World Junior Heavyweight Championship weight limit. Man of 1,001 holds, an extremely adept competitor. Traveling the world defending his title. Had some title defenses in Florida recently. He was very successful. Gut-wrenched also by Thornton as Bond to the canvas. Notice the way Thornton continually keeps after his man. That time they got into the ring ropes. That forced the break. Double leg pickup by Thornton. And after the femoris muscles of Bond. Thornton from Great Britain has combined the European style of wrestling with the American style of wrestling extremely well. Nice to have Mr. and Mrs. William Hawthorne from Greenville, South Carolina here today. Malik Dabney from New York City is here, and start of a grapevine on that leg, and now you can see Bond having trouble with the left leg. And very quickly, Thornton utilized that. Go right on his man with a cross face. Keeps the pressure on him. Has Bond in trouble. And it's Thornton crossing over. Lateral press. Bond's able to get that shoulder off. Thornton, fireman carry takedown. So you've seen in the last few moments here with the bulldog now by Thornton has. No, it's not a bulldog. I take it back. And he had the arm and not the head, but you can see the trouble Bond is in. Good float over by Thornton. Notice that the pressure stayed on Thornton, on Bond all the way. Bond finally was able to wriggle away and single leg forward leg pickup now by Thornton again, floats up on the body. Notice the way Thornton keeps that 224 pounds solidly on the body of Bond up around the chest cavity, keeping that air chamber compressed.
And I just see here that the spoiler, another one of Mr. Ellering's proteges, is going to be wrestling here shortly. I'd like to have a few moments if I could, and I'd like to see if I couldn't talk to Mr. Ellering.
All right, let's see if we can get Mr. Ellering out. If he doesn't come out now, perhaps he will come out when the spoiler comes out. He generally accompanies him to ringside, and so it has not been a good day for Paul Ellering.
No, it hasn't, and for the first time, that's awfully nice. It makes a nice day for everybody else.
And what better day for it to happen on than right here on St. Patty's Day? But it is Bond in trouble.
You know, when you talk about wrestling, you're sure seeing a guy that can wrestle when you look at Les Thornton. He was born and raised in Manchester, England. He learned a lot of his wrestling, of course, European style when he was there. And he's brought that style back here to the United States. And they just do a lot of on-the-mat wrestling.
Do indeed. He's got a Swedish cravat on him right now. And is also grapevined the leg. And just about had the pinning combination. And Thornton now becoming a little bit frustrated because Bond has proved to be a very elusive competitor. But again, a single leg pickup and a near arm drag. And now a deep double under play. And this may put the finishing touches to Mr. Bond. No, sir. Thornton is not satisfied at this point. A little more punishment. Backbreaker.
It's the capper. Good wrestling match, and then just a little punishment thrown in.
Well, Mr. Bond will think twice before he accepts another match with the World Junior Heavyweight Champion Les Thornton. There you see him, 4 times World Junior Heavyweight Champion. His top competitor right now, of course, is Tommy Rogers. Here is a special word.
April 1st at 8:30, a Canadian strap match. Jake the Snake Roberts, World TV Champion, takes on Ronnie Garvin. The Battle of the Giants. Big Joe LeDuc takes on 450-pound King Kong Bundy. It's the Road Warriors, the National Tag Team Champions, against Austin Idol and Jerry Lawler, the King of Wrestling. The National Heavyweight Championship on the line. Brad Armstrong defends against the Spoiler, plus Tim Horner, Les Thornton, Sweet Brown Sugar, and more, April 1st.
Again, my thanks to Tim Horner, but I noticed that Mr. Ellering is surprisingly missing.
I hope I didn't make a mistake and scare the poor boy away. Mr. Ellering, wherever you might be in hiding, your man is out here. I'm sure you wouldn't want to see upset number 4 of the day. And Ellering's the kind of guy, as long as things are going good, everything is fine with Mr. Ellering. But you start out and we show him getting beat with the Road Warriors, then Jake the Snake gets beat, then the Hawk in a single gets beat, and of course Ellering maybe is, oh, good morning, Mr. Ellering. You come out here to watch number 4 get beat? How does it feel to have Snake? How does it feel to have the Road Warrior? How does it feel to have both Road Warriors beat? I tell you what, the only problem with you is you and your whole bunch just got a little bit of a yellow streak in you. You come out here now, you're going to see another.
Ole Anderson, you're going too far now. You're going too far. Your mouth is out here flapping around. You need shock absorbers on it.
Are your men worth a darn, or are they just like you, all talk?
Oh, we
always respected everything that you said, but you know, you haven't done too well lately. Maybe things are going downhill. Well, if they are going downhill, then sign it. It's real easy. All you got to do is put your name. You're right.
Give me that pen. Listen, we were scheduled to wrestle these guys anyway, Gordon Soley. Hey, you want a title match? You've got it. They got a title match. I'm signing it right now. This is it. There it is, Ole Anderson. You better take it right there. And I'm sick. You, Ole Anderson, your mouth is so big you could rent it out as a fly catcher. I've had it with him, Gordon Soley. I've had it with everybody. The Legion of Doom will not be upstood.
Upstood? Well, I'm not quite sure what he meant by that. But I must admit I was underwhelmed by his responses. But nonetheless, he signed the contract, and that's all that counts. The Spoiler. And it doesn't look like there's much danger of the Spoiler being upset in this match, although it could happen, but he got the claw. He got the claw. It's over. It's over, and so the Spoiler is victorious. Precious Paul Ellering. Oh, and the Spoiler continues to punish his hapless opponent. And they finally force him to break the hold. Ellering raising the Spoiler's hand in victory. Well, the Spoiler right now is the only bright spot on Mr. Ellering's horizon today, after what happened to Jake the Snake and also what happened to the Hawk. 2 men eliminated from the opportunity of going after that World Heavyweight Championship, something that obviously Paul Ellering would like to be in charge of. Pardon me. But nonetheless, we do have that situation now where next week it will be Tim Horner and Brad Armstrong battling it out. Jack Briscoe's drawn the bye.
You talked about a bright spot, and the only one being that. Well, I'll tell you, here's another bright spot that happens to have Paul Ellering's name on it. Get done with this match. I want you to take a look at this contract.
Fair enough. And we'll be going to that match in just a moment. Are we going to go to a break first? Or are we going to the match? We're going to go to a break. Okay, fine. We'll be back in just a moment.
It's just signed.
Mr. Ellering, you have really messed up. You have really messed up.